All set. Okay, well, thank you very much and good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, members of council, administration, and certainly delegates that are here. I am going to call the meeting to order. And I'll first begin by acknowledging that we are on the land and surrounded by water originally inhabited by Indigenous people who have traveled this area since time immemorial. This territory is within the lands honored by the Wampum Treaties, agreements between the Anishinaabe and the Haudenosaunee and Lenni and Lenape and allied nations to peacefully share and care for the resources around the Great Lakes. Specifically, we would like to acknowledge the presence of the Three Fires Confederacy, the Ojibwe, the Ottawa, and the Potawatomi, and the Huron-Wendat peoples. And we are dedicated in honoring Indigenous history and culture while remaining committed to moving forward respectfully with all First Nations, Inuit, and Métis. Members, any disclosure of pecuniary interest on the agenda is presented to you? None? Okay, I'll have that duly noted. And I want to make note as well is that Councillor Toniol will not be attending the meeting tonight. He's on personal leave. So the introduction and purpose of our meeting is to hear public comments from any affected landowners on the proposed drainage works as set out in the drainage report filed by Mark Hernandez of Dillon Consulting Limited, dated February 24th, 2022, for the repair and improvement to the Lachance drain and also Lachance Bridge. So I will call upon our drainage superintendent and drainage engineer, Mark Hernandez, to summarize the report and certainly bring recommendations forward for members of council.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you. Good evening, everyone. Update on since the invitations went out for this meeting. Coincidentally, there was a report requested or initiated from the City of Windsor, and both of those reports went out relatively close together. Both reports are not assessing upstream landowners, so their involvement in this is subject to future maintenance assessments only. So I did receive probably about half a dozen phone calls on Drainage Act process and future maintenance assessments. So no objections that I have heard, and I believe that the requesting landowner is eager to satisfy the conditions for severance and get this culvert adopted and installed.
Yes, good evening, everybody. I would concur with what Mr. Paglia said. I haven't received any calls or concerns, no indication of any appeals. So it's been quiet.
Okay, thank you to both Mr. Paglia and Mr. Hernandez. Any questions, members of council, to both our drainage superintendent or engineer? Okay. Then with that, we'll move on to items of communications. We have two items. We have a notice actually of public meeting, and that was dated March 28, 2022. And then there's a bylaw, being a bylaw to provide for the repair and improvements to the Lachance drain. And so a motion that communications for information 1 and 2 is listed on the Tuesday, April 26, 22 public council meeting agenda be received. Councilor Job and Councilor Houston. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed, if any, that is carried. And the reports, the requests to consider engineer's report. Well, obviously there's I don't know if there's anything that you want to bring forward in that report, but I think you pretty much covered it, Mr. Paglia and Mr. Hernandez. And so if there's with that, then a motion to receive the report and notice given. Councilor Houston moves, support Deputy Mayor Bichetti. No further questions or comments, all in favor? Opposed, if any, that is carried. And if there's no further questions or comments on the report, I will turn this over to, I believe, Mr. Bartnick. You've got an item that you want to deal with.
Thank you, Your Worship, and good evening, members of council. I just wanted to advise that I think there was some notification that went out that Sam Paglia's last day is this Friday, April 29th. And so this is officially his last public council meeting on the drainage matters. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank Sam, not only professionally, but personally for his dedication throughout the years. So Sam joined the town years ago, I think just roughly after I joined. I think it was 2014. And, you know, our paths first crossed briefly while I was still at Stantec Consulting. And I guess Sam couldn't get enough of me there, so that he had to follow me all the way to the town of Tecumseh. But he has been such a dedicated employee, a superb drainage superintendent, and such a great advocate for drainage and the Municipal Drainage Act, not only throughout the town, but throughout the region as well. And he will definitely be missed. And we just wanted to thank you again, Sam. And, you know, we all know where you live, right across the street. So, you know, don't be surprised when we come knocking on the door to say hello from time to time.
And make sure the bar fridge is stocked, for sure. No doubt. I just want to add, Sam, I know when, you know, with amalgamation and you know, you inherit a lot of good things, but there was one area that we had a real weakness in the municipality, and that was on the Drainage Act and getting our drains up and running in order and done. And so I can say that over since 2014, and that there's been a tremendous amount of work that's gone in addressing that. And I must say, probably one of the most difficult, you know, jobs is, in my opinion, is drainage engineer, because boy, you're in the front lines and with folks, and in particular when somebody hasn't been assessed in 75 years or 50 years, and then you give them the good news that it's going to cost X and so forth. But the one thing, Sam, that I must say that impressed me the most, and Phil touched about it, was your patience. And I know we've had some what would be the right word, revolving issue with a few, but how you discharge your duties was absolutely in the utmost professional way. And you've really cleaned up a lot of backlog that needed to be done in the area. So to Phil's point, yeah, you're going to be missed for sure, but I'm sure you've mentored our other folks, and they're going to be right behind you and taking over. But certainly we know you're not too far away. And to that point, also, don't be a stranger as well. And so we appreciate everything you've done for us in our community. And again, we wish you all the best in your retirement and you know, your next chapter. And hopefully it's long and healthy and certainly prosperous. Councilor Jobin, you'll get the last word, Mr. Paglia.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor, and through you. Well, Sam, Phil, I disagree with you. I think Sam followed me there, because the first time I met him, Sam was at a heavy construction dinner, and it's just, you just seated with whomever, and we were paired up. And when I learned his background, I said, oh, I'm looking to advance and grow our drainage department, because we had Dan Piazek and one drainage superintendent, and then there was Phil and Sam. Now we have this team. And I couldn't agree with Gary more how you have managed the residents, primarily in my ward, because it's mostly who's affected by the drainage system, and how you helped me and how you worked with me closely and being able to communicate the needs and just to bring it all up, even with the Q&A and everything we did on our website to help people understand the language. So Sam, I really do appreciate all that you've done, and you'll be missed. So I'm going to need your new phone number for just, backup calls and that kind of thing. And anyways, congratulations. I wish you all the best as well. And hopefully even also I can maybe rent your place in Florida sometime also, and we'll keep in touch for sure. Thank you for all that you've done.
Councilor Dowie.
Thank you, Your Worship. And I'd say I'd say more of a professional connection with Sam. I've followed in his footsteps a little bit in my professional career as a drainage superintendent myself, and he's been a wealth of knowledge, of sensible guidance, and I can't thank him enough for being a steady hand on the tiller for a lot of these projects. I've learned a lot from him over the years as we've considered the projects here, and I've taken certainly his mentorship to heart as I carry on my role. Sam, you've been a great inspiration for the work that I do. I've learned a ton from you and how to carry on the work, and I can't thank you enough. I look forward to continuing to connect in your next stage of your career.
Councilor Altenhoff, Councilor Houston.
Thank you, Worship, and through you to Mr. Paglia. The one thing I would echo what's been said with regards to your professional, but I really want to articulate your incredible ability to communicate and work with people. I think at the end of the day, it's how we work and engage with people and communicate and form kind of those relationships that we don't really recognize we're forming them. But then at the end, we really start to appreciate how wonderful they are. And to you, Sam, thank you very much, because I think you've been a very good example to many on the importance of that point. So I wish you all the best in your future. And thank you very much for everything you've done in the engineering profession and instilling in the younger engineers, the right ways to do things. So thank you very much.
Councilor Houston.
Thank you, Worship. And yeah, Sam, I'll say thank you. Thinking about it now, it's been almost 8 years that first elected, come in, and I remember having drainage meetings right out of the bat, and I had to learn a lot because I didn't come from a municipal or an engineering background, and you were there to answer the questions, coach and provide the little bit of knowledge I have on drains today. So I want to say thank you and wish you long healthy and prosperous retirement, and look forward to running into you at La Stella, right? Or, maybe a wedding at Chicharo or something. So wish you all the best and thank you.
Deputy Mayor Riquetti.
Thank you, Worship. So Sam, in terms of the last 8 years, I'll go back the last 25 years, starting off with former Sandwich South Township with the drainage superintendent there. I know Sean Firth was a part of that community, and we had Dave Hobbs and going to Larry Bodwin, and we can go back. And what I noticed when you came on, Sam, is the professionalism in terms of the rooms or the council chambers were not filled with people. So obviously you were doing something right, doing the heavy lifting prior to those meetings, because those drainage meetings were one of the ones that would be, stacked council chambers and people angry. And as a council, we'd be hearing it. I remember sitting in those meetings with Al Parr and trying to calm him down and very upset. So, when things have evolved and you came on board, what I noticed was there was nobody in the meeting. It was empty. And so that tells me that you guys, your team, Mark, Lesia now, you guys are doing a lot of the proactive work, trying to resolve issues before they come. And that makes our job easier. So that's one thing I appreciate the most. And can just wish you all the best. And again, continued aspirations wherever you want to take your next chapter.
John?
Thank you, Your Worship. I guess my story is similar to Phil's. I met Sam a number of years ago when he was at Stantec and he was just getting his feet wet in the drainage industry. And when I had the opportunity to come to Tecumseh, I really looked forward to working with him. And I got to say, it has been a pleasure. I echo everything everyone has said about his communication skills. There were very few times where Sam couldn't handle something. If somebody, a question came to me, there had to be something really up, because Sam could usually handle, diffuse, and get the proper information out to people. And again, it's just been a pleasure working with you, Sam, and I really wish you all the best in the next phases of your life.
Well, Sam, it's the floor is yours.
Thank you, Your Worship. Oh, sorry.
If I could, Mr. Mayor, just to.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. I was trying to use the yellow hand, but thank you, Sam. I didn't get a chance to work with you for long, having been only here for a few years, and that pesky pandemic getting in the way of in-office interactions. But I've heard the good news about you around the room. I spent a lot of years in Oxford County working with drainage superintendents in the rural parts of Oxford County. So I understand the value of a good drainage superintendent. So clearly you've served that function and brought Tecumseh along and in leaving it in a good state. And that's something to be very proud of, regardless of what you do in your next chapter of life. So we wish you all the very best. And luckily, you're not far away, so we do hope to see you around Town Hall from time to time. Thank you. Good luck.
Well, thank you, everyone. A lot of the comments were about my communication skills, but I'm not going to find the words right now. I do appreciate all the comments, and I do take them to heart. And one of the things that came to mind was that the support that I received from council and from the town in being able to do a job that requires tough skin sometimes. The resources and the support make it that much easier. So although it may look like I've done a spectacular job, so to speak, it's everyone, and I do appreciate the support that I did receive from everyone here and at the town, including residents. I can recall some meetings when I first started of, I don't know if I can say it here, but thinking my life was in danger, meeting a landowner in a meeting room, and those are now what were my best friends, and hopefully will continue. Those were the landowners that were objecting at the beginning and now are the first ones to call, because I think over the years, we've not only made the realization in the industry that drainage is important for their yields. At the end of the day, we're a team of people trying to work for everyone. So I think that has gotten us through most of this anyway. So to everyone, you do know where I live. The door, as anyone who knows me on a personal level, is always open, and I have a fully stocked wine bar. So a drink, always welcome in good company. And, likewise, Tanya, just let me know when you're going down and I'll flip you the keys. All right. I really, truly thank everyone. Those were very kind words, and I'm really humbled by them. Thank you so much.
Excellent. All right, with that, members, we are now at the point of adjournment. Moved by Councillor Altonop and supported by Councillor Houston. This meeting is now adjourned. Thank you very much. And I think our next meeting is 6:15. Am I correct?
I believe it's 6 o'clock, Your Worship. And if anyone would like to use the link to join the meeting for ease of reference, it's in the chat.